Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Coders Arcade. In today's video, we will be talking about functions in Python. So what are functions in Python? A function is a block of organized reusable code that is used to perform a single related action. As you already know, Python gives you many built-in functions like print function, etc. But you can also create your own functions. These functions are called user-defined functions. A function is actually a block of code which only runs when it is called. So you can pass data known as parameters into a function. A function can also return data as a result. Now let us check certain rules for defining a function in Python. You can see here are the rules for defining a function in Python. The first rule is that function blocks begin with the keyword def. This is the built-in keyword def, followed by the function name and the parenthesis. Any parameters or arguments should be placed within this parenthesis. You can also define parameters inside this parenthesis. The first statement of a function can be an optional statement, which is known as the docstring or the documentation string of the function. The next rule is that the code block with every function starts with a colon and it is always indented. Indentation is the most important thing which you have to remember. Then the last and the final rule is that the statement return expression exits a function and optionally it passes back an expression to the caller. A return statement with no arguments is same as returning a none value. So these are certain rules which we need to follow while defining a function in Python. Now, as we know the rules, let us move on to Pycharm so that we can deal with some examples to know more about functions. So let us move on to Pycharm. Here I have created a Python file named functions. So let us start defining simple functions. I will write def, which is the keyword. Then I will write the function name. Let me take some name, which is greeting. Then after writing the function name, you should remember that you have to give parenthesis followed by a colon. Inside the parenthesis, I am not defining any parameters. This function has no parameters. So I will press enter, and then this is a simple example of a function. So I will just keep it simple. I will print hello world, and let me take one more print function and let me write have a great day followed by an exclamation mark. This is how we can define a simple function. Here this is the def keyword followed by the name of the function, greeting, and then I have used the parenthesis, and this function takes no parameters, so I have left the parenthesis blank, and then you see here this is the colon. After that you can already see that when I pressed enter it is indented. Then I have used two print statements where I have printed once hello world, and in the second line I have used have a great day. Now if I run this program code, what I should get is I should get hello world and have a great day. So let me run it. I'm running it for you, but you can see that we have the output, but there is nothing like hello world or have a great day in the output. Why is that so? Because we have defined a function, but a function is only executed when we call it. So we need to call this function. So let me show you how to call it. Here I will write greeting. So this is how you can call the function. Now if I run the program, you will find the difference. You can see that the two print statements have been executed, and there in the output in the console we can see the two statements, hello world and have a great day. So this is a simple example of a function. This is called a user defined function because we can define it and use it the way we want it. So let me go into some other user defined functions which can do different tasks for us. Now, whenever you get a project, you might have certain tasks which have to be repeated over and over again. In that case, what you can do is you can save everything inside a function which will perform the task whenever you call it. So suppose I am telling you, you want to add certain numbers. Instead of repeating the lines of code again and again, you can store all the program code in a single function, and whenever you want it, you can call the function and generate the result. Let me show you how you can do it. I will define, say, addition, which is my function name. Then here I have to take two parameters. You can take as many parameters as you want, but for the time being, let me show you by taking two parameters and adding them. I will take A and B, and then followed by my colon. I will press enter. Then here I will take another variable, say total is equal to A plus B. Now I will use the print function and then I will print total. So this is how I am defining my function, which is addition, which takes two parameters A and B, and then I am calculating the total A and B and storing it in my variable total. Then I am printing my variable total. Now I have to call this function so that I can get the output. So here what I will do is I will call my function and I will have to now pass parameters. Let's say I take 6, 4. And now when I run my program, you can see that I am getting the result 10, which is actually the value of 6 and 4, which is 6 plus 4. Here you can notice that I am printing the total. So in the console I am getting the result as 10. Now I will show you another way how you can do it. You can do this by also using the return statement. Let me show you how to do it. I will use return and then I will use total. Now when I run this program, you will see the difference. Here I have called the function addition and then I have assigned the parameters 6 and 4. Let me run it so that you can understand. Now you can check here that we returned total, and even though we called our function, we are not getting any output here. We only got the output for our earlier function, which is greeting. Why is it so? It is so because we have to now store the return value into a variable. Otherwise, we will not be getting any result. Because what now this function does is it actually calculates the sum of two numbers and it actually returns the result. It doesn't care what we are doing with the result. So what we have to do is we have to actually store it into a variable, then only we can print it. Let me show you how to do it. Here you can see that I will take a variable add, then I will use the equal sign, and now I will call my function addition. Then if I print my add variable, and now if I run my program, you can see that now I am getting this 10 as the output in the console. So now I hope you have got the difference between normal print statement and the return statement in a function. With the return statement, actually what is done is this function calculates the addition of two numbers and returns the total. It is up to us now what we need to do with this return value. So therefore what I did was I took a variable add and then I put the value of the addition of 6 and 4 into it. Then when I print the add variable, I am getting the return value from this function and it is being printed in the console here, which is 10. Now we can also make a function do different number of tasks. It is not mandatory that your function will perform only a certain task. Let me show you what I am trying to tell you. In this function, we are returning the addition of two numbers. We can also return the subtraction and the multiplication of two numbers. So let me show you how to do it. Here, what I will do is, I will take another variable, product is equal to A into B, and then as I am returning my sum, I will return the product. So after total, I will give a comma and return product. So now this function will return addition as well as multiplication of two numbers. For that, what I have to do is, I have to store this 2 in two variables. So here you can see the addition will be stored in the add variable. For the product, I have to take another variable. Let me take, say, mul for multiplication. Then if I print my add variable and my mul variable, and now if I run my program, you can see that 6 and 4, the addition 10 has been returned, and 6 into 4, which is 24, has also been returned, which is done by the print statement, which has the add and the mul variables. Now I can also return the subtraction, but before that, let me show you what I have done wrong in this. The function here is returning sum and the product, but I have written the name of this function as addition. So it's a little confusing, right? For that, what I need to do is, I have to write product as well, so that it actually doesn't confuse the user and he or she understands what actually this function is doing. And so here you can see this has been highlighted by red, so it means that I have to change the name of this function call also. So here I will change it to product. So now it is all okay, and if I run it now again, you can see it produces the same result. Now let me also provide the subtraction. For that, I will change it here and I will write subtraction, and here I will return the subtraction as well. Difference is equal to A minus B. Now I have to return this difference variable as well. Now I have to change this because you can see it's giving an error. So I will change it to addition, product, subtraction. Now here are two variables, but in my return statement I am getting 3 return values. So here I will change it to sub, or you can change it to diff. So now it will return 3 values. Let me give the diff variable also. So now if I run it, you can see that it's also returning the difference, 6 minus 4, which is 2. Now in this example, I have showed you how a function can be used to return more than one value. Here I am returning 3 values: total, product and difference. That is the sum, the product and the difference. Now what I want to suggest you is that in order to not get confused, you should always define a function and make it do a certain particular task, so that in the flow of the program code you remember what actually one individual function is doing. So I just wanted to show you that you can manipulate the function definition and do more than one tasks, but in order to not make things complicated, you can initially make a function do a definite task. Now in this, I have to show you one more thing which I told you in the rules for defining a function. There is one more thing, which is the doc string. The doc string is actually provided in the start, which is given by quotes. Here you can see in between the quotes I will write this greets the user, or I can change it to this function greets the user. this will not be executed. This is actually called a documentation string or doc string, which tells anyone what actually this function is doing. In the same way, we can provide a doc string here as well, saying this function returns the sum product difference of two numbers. So what is the benefit of using doc strings is that doc strings will help any other person other than you to follow whatever you have done in this functions. So this is a basic tutorial video regarding the use of functions in Python and how to define a function and how to do certain tasks with the help of functions in Python. Now that you know about defining a function and doing certain operations using functions, let us move on to the next topic, which is local and global scopes. So what are local and global scopes? As you can see here, parameters and variables that are assigned in a called function are said to exist in that function's local scope. Variables that are assigned outside all functions are said to exist in the global scope. So now, what are local and global variables? That is the question. A variable that exists in a local scope is called a local variable, while a variable that exists in the global scope is called a global variable. Therefore, a variable must be one or the other. It can be a local variable or a global variable. It cannot be both local and global. Now, we understood about the definition of local and global variables. But the main question is, why do we need scopes, or why actually are scopes in functions important? Let me tell you the reason behind that. Suppose you have written a program code which may be 1000 lines long and you don't have any local or global scopes, and while writing the program you have encountered a bug, then it will be very hectic and tedious for you to go inside the 1000 lines of your code and find where the program code went wrong. But if you had global and local scopes and there was a bug in any one of the functions you used, that bug will be actually inside that function's local scope. So in that way it will be very easy for you to find the bug and fix it. Had it been that there were no global and local scopes, it would be very difficult for you to find out the bug. That is why scopes are required. Now let me go on to the need of scopes. Why actually we need scopes? Here you can see that these are actually the needs of scopes. A code in a global scope cannot use any local variables. What it means is all the local variables will be actually inside a function's local scope. These local variables cannot be used by the code in the global scope. But in the second point you can see that a local scope can access global variables. Suppose we have assigned a global variable, then all the functions in that program can use that local variable and access its data in the particular function's local scope. Now let us move on to the third point, which is code in a function's local scope cannot use variables in any other local scope. Suppose for a simple example, let me say you have two functions in a program, then the variables in one function's local scope cannot access the variables in the other function's local scope. This is the meaning of this third sentence. Let us move on to the fourth one. Here you can see we can use the same name for different variables if they are in different scopes. That means if we have two functions, then we can use the same name for local variables in two different functions. The main thing that we have to keep in mind is that both the variables should be defined in two functions, different local scopes. Now let us move on to Pycharm so that I can show you a program where you will understand more about local and global variables. here you can see that I have defined a function 1. So in this, the space or the scope you see here, this is called the local scope of function 1. Here what I have done is I have taken a variable x is equal to 10. So this x equal to 10 is totally a local variable for this function 1. Now after this I have printed the value of x is, and then I have called my x variable. Again after that I have defined another function 2, and here also I have taken another local variable which is x equal to 20. Now these two variables belong to different local scopes of two different functions. Therefore it doesn't matter if the names of these two variables are same. So here also what I have done is I have printed the value of x, and you can see what I have done. I have called the function 1 inside this local scope of function 2. Then finally here I have made a function call for my function 2. Now you can see what will actually happen. I am running it for you. You can see when I called my function 2 here, it will actually print the value of x. This x is the local variable x equal to 20 inside the scope of the function 2, and therefore we are getting the value of x is 20. This 20 is the local variable in the local scope of function 2, and after that here inside the local scope of function 2 I have called function 1. Now the control will be given to the function 1, and here you can see the value of x is 10. So this is a local variable for the function 1. Then again here this print function will be executed, and therefore we are getting this 10 as the value in the second line. You can see here the value of x is 10. Now I want to show you what will happen if I don't declare this x equal to 10 here. I will just comment this part out, and now you can see that here because this x is not defined, I have commented it out, therefore we are getting a red color highlighted. That means there is an error. I will run this program for you, and you can see here what happens. I am running it. You can see here in the first function call, that is function 2, I am getting this output. The value of x is x, which is 20. You can see here the value of x is 20, and after that you can see that just because I commented this x equal to 10 local variable, this line, which is the line 6, is giving a error. You can see the error, name x is not defined, and it is a name error. So now I guess you can understand the use of local variables. So here you can see this x equal to 10 was the local variable for function 1, and this x equal to 20 is the local variable for function 2. Therefore in the first function call it was printing this statement, and after that when we gave the control to the function 1, then just because I have commented it out, it couldn't print the variable x, and that's why we got this error, as you can see here, the name error. So this says that a local variable in one function scope cannot be used by another function. So if I now again remove this comment, and if I run it again, then you will see that it is giving the proper output. So for the first case it is printing the value of x is 20 for this function 2 call, and for this function 1 call inside this function 2 I am getting this local variable x equal to 10, and I am getting the result, the value of x is 10, as you can see here. Now this was about local variables. Now let me show you how to use a global variable. Now I will remove this x equal to 20 and x equal to 10 as well. What I will do is I will take a global variable x equal to say 10. Now here if I again run this program, you can see what is the difference. Now I will run it for you, and you can see that in this case I am using the print statement, and this is printing the global variable x equal to 10. So in both the cases I am getting the value of x is 10 and the value of x is 10. So when I first called my function 2, it printed the global variable 10, and then when I gave the control to my function 1, here also I have used the print function, therefore I am getting the value of x is again 10. Now if I want to modify the global variable, I can do it like this. I will show you how. I can say x equal to 20, and now if I run my program, you can see the changes. I am running it now. Now you can see for the first function call, that is function 2, I am getting this, the value of x is x. This x refers to this local variable which is x equal to 20. Therefore I am getting the value of x is 20, and then I gave the function call to my function 1, and here as you can see I have no assigned variable x, therefore this x will refer to the global variable x equal to 10, and therefore here in this print statement I am getting the value of x is 10. So this is actually about the local and global variables. Now that you have a better idea about local and global scopes and local and global variables, let us move on to the next topic, which is parameters and arguments that we provide to a function. Now, what are parameters or arguments? The terms parameter and argument can be used for the same thing, which is information that are passed into a function. From a function's perspective, a parameter is the variable listed inside the parenthesis in the function definition. So now let us move on to the first topic in parameters or arguments, which is number of arguments. I will move on to Pycharm so that I can directly show you an example. Here you can see I have already written a program for you. So actually an argument is the value that is sent to the function when it is called. You can see here there are two arguments that have been sent to this function 1, and when we call the function we have to provide this two arguments. Here you can see the first name and the last name are the two arguments or parameters, and we have passed the first name and the last name while calling the function. So by default a function must be called with the correct number of arguments, meaning that if your function expects two arguments, as you can see here, you have to call the function with two arguments, not more and not less. You have to give the exact two arguments, otherwise it will return errors. So here you can see my function name is function 1 and it has two arguments, first name and last name, and what I am doing is I am printing first name and last name. Then while calling my function 1 I am using the arguments first name and last name. Now when I run this program, you can see it's printing the first name and last name, and I have given deliberately a space in between so that I get a space in between my first name and last name. Therefore I am getting this name Guido van Rossum with space. So this is about the number of arguments. Now let us move on to the next topic, which is arbitrary arguments, or which can also be called star args in Python. It is the short form of arbitrary arguments. It is also called star args or asterisk args. So where do we use arbitrary arguments? Suppose if you do not know how many arguments will be passed into your function, you can add a star before the parameter name in the function definition. This way the function will receive a tuple of arguments and can access the items accordingly. Let me show you how to use the arbitrary arguments in Pycharm. Here I will just delete this for you, and I have already written it. I will just highlight it for you now. You can see here I have already written it. I will remove this quotes, and now you can see, suppose if you do not know how many arguments you are going to pass to your function, then you can just in front of the arguments you can give this star args, and then what will happen is the function will receive a tuple of arguments. You can see here it will receive a tuple of arguments and can access the items accordingly. So what I have done is I am trying to print the name of the youngest child here in this function 2, and what I have done is, you can see I have taken the args parameter, and then with the help of this indexing I have used the last index, which is the third one, because it starts from 0 and it will go until 0, 1, 2. So 2 means the last one, because I have passed 3 parameters here. So now when I run my program, it will automatically say the youngest child is Charlie. Now I am running it for you so that you can see the output. As you can see here, it says the youngest child is Charlie. So this is the use of arbitrary arguments. Now let us move on to the next topic, which is keyword arguments. In keyword arguments, you can also send arguments with the key equal to value syntax. When you use this key equal to value syntax, this way the order of the arguments does not matter. Let me show you what I mean with the help of Pycharm. Here I will delete this program and I will show you the keyword arguments one. You can see I have already written it. I will remove this quotes, and here you can see that I have taken a function 3, and here I am passing 3 arguments, child 3, child 2 and child 1, but I am only printing the youngest child. How I am doing it is, I am telling the youngest child is child 3. So when we use this key equal to value syntax, then actually we will be assigning each argument with the value. So it doesn't matter what order we are giving this arguments. Here you can see child 1 is Tom, child 2 is Jerry and child 3 is Charlie. But here you can see I have not given any serial order. First I have written child 3, then child 2 and child 1. So this is the benefit of using this key equal to value syntax. What it does is, this will not check any order, it will just take the value stored in the argument, then it will execute the program. Now I am running it for you and you can see what actually happens. You can see that even though I have given it in unordered fashion, I am getting the last child, that is child 3, as the youngest child, because here I have used the key equal to value syntax, where child 3 is equal to Charlie. Therefore when I call this child 3, it will automatically take this Charlie value. As you can see here, the youngest child is Charlie. Now after this, let us move on to the next one, which is, as you can see here, arbitrary keyword arguments, and in Python in short form it is also called *KWARGS. So what are arbitrary keyword arguments and how do we know when to use it? Suppose if you do not know how many keyword arguments will be passed into your function, then what we can do is we can add 2 asterisks or 2 star marks before the parameter name in the function definition. In this way, the function will receive a dictionary of arguments and can access the items accordingly. Let us move on to Pycharm and look at the example to know more about arbitrary keyword arguments. Here let me delete this for you so that I can show you the arbitrary keyword arguments. Here you can see I have written the code out for you. I will just remove this quotes, and now you can see, as I told you, if sometimes we do not know how many arguments are going to be passed into a function call, then we can use this arbitrary keyword arguments, or which is actually 2 asterisk symbols followed by the argument. Then the function will receive a dictionary of arguments and it can automatically access the items accordingly. So here when I run this program, you can see it will automatically take the last name argument and it will print Van Rossum. So when I run it, you can see that the output is his name is Van Rossum. So this is the use of arbitrary keyword arguments. Let's see the next topic, which is default parameter value. The next example that I am going to show you will tell you how to use default parameter value. So if we call a function without any arguments, it will use the default value. Let me show you with the help of an example in Pycharm. Here you can see that I have written a code for you. I will just remove this quotes, and you can see I have defined a function 5 where this is actually the default parameter value, which is fruit equal to apple. This is called the default parameter value. Then after that I am using the print function inside the function's local scope, and I am printing I like, then I am concatenating with this fruit argument. Now when I call the function with defined parameters, then it will give the defined output. Otherwise, if I call the function without giving any parameters, it will print the default value. Let me show what I actually mean. In this case, you can see I have called the function 5 with the parameter orange. So here it should print I like orange. Similarly, in this case it will print I like mango, and in this case it will print I like banana. But in this case, when I call the function 5, you can see that I have not provided any parameters. So here what should happen is it should actually print the default value, which is fruit equal to apple. That is, it will print I like apple. Let me show you when I run it what happens. I am running it for you now. Now you can see for the first function call it prints I like orange. For the second function call it prints I like mango. For the third one, as I told you, I have not passed any parameters here, therefore it is executing the code with the default parameter, that is fruit equal to apple. Therefore I am getting I like apple. And in the last one I use the parameter banana, therefore I am getting I like banana. So this is about the use of default parameter value in functions. Now let us move on to the next topic, which is passing a list as an argument. You can send any data types of argument to a function. It can be a string, a number, a list, a dictionary, etc. And it will be treated as the same data type inside the function's local scope. For example, if you send a list as an argument, it will still be a list when it reaches the function. Let me show you what I actually mean with the help of an example. I am going to my Pycharm, and here I will delete the earlier example and I will show you this example. I have already written it out for you. You can see here I have defined a function 6, and then I am giving the parameter as data. Then inside the function's local scope I have used a for loop and created the loop variable x, which will iterate over this data, and it will keep on printing the individual items in this data. So right now here I have also created a variable sports, which is actually a list. Then when my x variable will iterate over this data will represent the sports, and then I will be getting football, cricket, and then golf. So here you can see I have called my function 6, and then I have used this variable sports as my parameter here. As this sports variable is actually a list, so the parameter sports here will actually also be a list, which will then go inside this function call, and then it will keep printing the items in this list one by one. Let me run this program and show it to you what actually happens. I am running it for you now. You can see this loop variable iterates over this data, which now represents this sports list, and it prints the items one by one, that is football, cricket, and golf. You can see here football, cricket, and golf. So this is how you can pass a list as an argument to a function. Now let us move on to the last topic in this video, which is the pass statement. So As we know now that function definitions cannot be empty, but if you for some reason have a function definition with no content, you can put in the pass statement to avoid getting an error. So let me show you how it is done. I will go to my Pycharm now, and here I will delete this earlier example and I will show you the pass statement here. So this is the example. Here I will remove this quotes, and then you can see this function actually does nothing. I am just defining a function 7, and then there is no program code inside the scope of this function. Therefore, if I don't use this pass statement, suppose, and if I run my program, you can see there are errors. The error is indentation error, expected and indented block. So to avoid these errors, what you can do is you can use the pass statement. So when you use the pass statement, then if you run your program, you can see there are no errors here. And this thing is applicable when you have certain functions where you are actually keeping those function definitions empty. Then you can use the pass statement.
So this is all about this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you like the video, and if you like it, then tell us in the comment section below. If you have any doubts, then post them in the comment section. I will definitely try to clear those doubts. Also, like, share and subscribe to our channel Coders Arcade, and press the bell icon so that you will get a notification when we post a new video. Thank you. Happy learning.